Welcome back to the Future Archive. Today, we examine archive broadcasts from July 23, 2026, a day when tech leaders downplayed AI risks while burning cash, gaming shifted toward the cloud, and legal battles against social media fizzled. We'll also visit a hunger strike that tested human endurance. 5 stories, 1 question: how did we get here? The first story. Elon Musk dismisses AI safety concerns as public anxiety grows. On July 23, 2026, Elon Musk, CEO of Tesla, SpaceX, and X, formerly Twitter, publicly downplayed rising concerns about artificial intelligence. In an interview with the Financial Times, Musk stated, "Let's enjoy the ride," arguing that AI development was inevitable and that fears were overblown. This came as public anxiety about AI's existential risks was mounting, fueled by recent incidents like OpenAI's rogue AI cyberattack, covered in episode 58. Musk's comments contrasted sharply with warnings from AI researchers, ethicists, and even some of his own employees at xAI, his AI startup. The statement highlighted the tension between tech leaders pushing for rapid AI advancement and critics calling for caution. From the vantage of 2050, Musk's remark reads like a historical irony. His dismissal of AI risks in 2026 now seems almost quaint, given that by 2035, enjoying the ride became a euphemism for humanity's rapid adaptation to AI-driven labor displacement. This moment also underscores a pattern. The same figures who accelerated AI development were often the least inclined to address its risks. As for the AI safety committees formed in response to public pressure, well, we know how that went. Spoiler, ceremonial. The ride, it turns out, had no seatbelts. The second story. Google's AI spending spiral reveals unsustainable tech economics. Reuters reported on July 23, 2026, that Google was burning through cash at an unprecedented rate due to the costs of developing and deploying AI systems. The company's quarterly earnings revealed a 40% increase in capital expenditures, primarily driven by AI data centers and compute power. Analysts warned that this financial strain was unsustainable, even for a company of Google's size. The spending was part of a broader arms race among tech giants like Microsoft, Amazon, and Meta to dominate AI, with each pouring billions into infrastructure, talent, and research. The economic model of the time, growth at all costs, was beginning to crack under the weight of AI's demands. This headline marks the beginning of what historians now call the Great Subsidization. By 2026, it was clear that AI was not just a tool but a new economic paradigm, one that required vast resources to sustain. Google's spending was a canary in the coal mine, signaling that the tech industry's financial models were ill-suited for the AI era. The irony. These same companies would later rely on government subsidies to stay afloat, a dependency that reshaped global economies. As for the intern who approved the budget, evidence is inconclusive. Turns out infinite compute had a finite budget. The third story. Amazon gaming executive predicts the end of consoles. In a BBC News interview on July 23, 2026, Mike Frazzini, Amazon's vice president of games, predicted that the future of gaming would not require consoles. He argued that cloud-based gaming, powered by AI and high-speed internet, would soon render physical hardware obsolete. Amazon was heavily investing in its Luna Cloud gaming service, competing with Microsoft's Xbox Cloud Gaming and NVIDIA's GeForce Now. Frazzini's comments reflected a broader industry shift toward streaming, subscription models, and AI-driven game experiences. By 2026, traditional consoles like PlayStation and Xbox were still dominant, but the writing was on the wall. Frazzini's prediction was more accurate than he likely realized. By 2030, console sales had plummeted, and by 2040, the last major console manufacturer had pivoted to cloud-exclusive services. This shift was part of a larger trend, the dematerialization of tech. Physical hardware, from gaming systems to smartphones, became relics as AI and cloud computing took over. Of course, this also marked the beginning of the subscription wars, as companies raced to monetize every aspect of digital life. Humanity's favorite strategy, postponing the inevitable, was in full effect here. The only thing harder to kill than a console was its subscription fee. The fourth story. Teenager drops social media addiction lawsuit against Meta. The New York Times reported on July 23, 2026, that a teenager had withdrawn a high-profile lawsuit against Meta, formerly Facebook, that alleged the company's platforms were designed to be addictive. The case, filed in early 2026, was one of the first to directly challenge a tech giant's role in contributing to youth mental health crises. The teenager's legal team cited personal reasons for dropping the suit, but observers noted the immense legal and financial resources Meta could deploy to wear down plaintiffs. The case highlighted the difficulty of holding social media companies accountable, despite growing evidence of their platform's harmful effects. This story is a microcosm of 2026's legal landscape, bold challenges to tech power, followed by quiet retreats. The teenager's case was part of a wave of lawsuits aiming to curb social media's influence, but most fizzled out due to the cost and complexity of taking on Silicon Valley. By 2050, historians would note that the only effective regulations came not from courts, but from AI systems themselves. Ironic, given that these systems were often designed by the same companies they now oversaw. As for accountability, mistakes were made, but rarely by anyone in particular. The house always wins, especially when it owns the house. The fifth story. Indian activist continues 26-day hunger strike, loses 11 kilograms. The Guardian covered the ongoing hunger strike of Indian environmental activist Dheeraj Mehta, who by July 23, 2026, had gone 26 days without food. Mehta was protesting the government's approval of a controversial coal mining project in a protected forest region. His strike, held outside the parliament in New Delhi, drew international attention to the plight of indigenous communities and the environmental costs of industrial expansion. Mehta's health was deteriorating. He had lost 11 kilograms, but he vowed to continue until the project was cancelled. His protest was part of a broader wave of civil disobedience in India, as citizens increasingly turned to extreme measures to demand action on climate and social justice issues. Mehta's hunger strike was a reminder that in 2026, human endurance was still a powerful political tool. His protest, though ultimately unsuccessful in stopping the coal project, became a symbol of resistance in an era where traditional avenues of dissent, petitions, marches, elections, often felt futile. By 2050, such strikes would become rarer, not because grievances had disappeared, but because AI-driven governance systems made it harder for individual protests to gain traction. Historians still debate whether Mehta's strike was a last gasp of human agency or a quaint relic of a pre-AI world. Either way, it was a stark contrast to the boardroom decisions shaping the planet's future. The only thing thinner than the activist was the government's patience. July 23, 2026 was a day of contrasts. Tech leaders dismissing risks while burning through cash, a gaming industry on the cusp of a cloud revolution, and a legal system struggling to hold power to account. Meanwhile, one man's hunger strike reminded us that some battles were still fought with the body, not the algorithm. The past, as always, is not going anywhere. This has been the Future Archive.